Hey, everybody, it's Reggie with Lawyer Interviews. And today we are so excited. We have the honor of having Jefferson Fisher, who is out of Beaumont, Texas. Hi, Jefferson.
Hey, what's going on, Reggie?
So good to have you. And we're really excited because you have got some awesome social media presence, and we're going to get down to it in a few minutes. But
Awesome,
first,
appreciate
let's talk about what you practice.
Yeah, so I practice personal injury down here in Beaumont, and my firm practices on top of that with immigration law and some commercial litigation with that.
Very cool. Very cool. So, and how long have you been practicing?
I've been practicing close to about 8 years now.
Okay, very cool. So were you part of the 2014 web, or not, excuse me, web, but exam soft crash? Were you part of that?
Yeah, that was the year after me.
Oh, okay. See, that was my year. I joined the class action and everything.
I
Got my
do
like
remember that
72
though.
bucks
I
back.
do remember that though. But if you just say the word exam soft, like I just get like PTSD just saying that. I don't even want to think. I don't think about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I won't mention exam soft again.
Yeah, yeah. I get it. I get it. But yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you. And I would love to talk about your TikToks. I know it's like
Oh,
maybe I know. I'm sorry. I've got to bring it up
no,
because you
no,
have an amazing series, and I know that they're also on Instagram Reels of teaching
yes,
everyday people how to either argue or reason or think like a lawyer. And I
right.
love to talk about that. When did you
Thanks.
decide to do that?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm pretty lame, okay, Reggie, and I did not know how to even use TikTok until like end of March of this year. Okay.
Oh.
So it is a very it's been a very steep learning curve for me. I got a TikTok. I had it really just to be one of those people who just like watch and send videos to your friends. You know, it's like
Right.
I have that group of friends that all we do is just we don't say anything to each other.
You can't.
You
You
just
just
send
send
you just send
yeah,
TikTok videos and
TikToks and memes. That's all you do.
that's right. And we kind of rate it. It's like, that was good. That was bad. We kind of just bust each other.
Right.
And so I started at the end of January to say, okay, if I'm going off on my new venture with my new firm, then I need to take social media seriously. So I started doing Instagram, and you can scroll. I really don't have all that. I don't have this huge library of content. Back in January, where I told my followers on Instagram, which were not that many at the time, saying, hey, I'm going to try this out on Instagram. And I just started doing stuff. That's where I was lip syncing things and just putting myself out there and being totally cool with just putting yourself out there, really. And there's a lot that comes with that. And then somebody was like, you ought to really just think of just doing something on TikTok.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, you mean the app that I sent to my friends? Okay, well, I don't know how to use that. So I would take videos of it, Instagram, and just put them on TikTok. And I got like 100 views. Like there was nothing. Nobody. I had 62 followers as of like March something. Okay, I had
this
62.
year. Wow.
Yeah, of this year. And I just was trying to figure it out. And then I did a video as the algorithm,
The God
daddy
of the
algorithm
algorithm
out
that
there.
everyone. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You made some kind of sacrifice that you're not willing to
Right,
put on
right,
camera.
right. Praise be to the algorithm. And so I did a first video on how to argue like a lawyer. I don't know why. I just picked it up on my phone. I've always been one of those that's worried about like video quality, blah, blah, blah. And then I just picked up my phone and just decided to talk and post it. And right out of that, I got like 4,000 followers, which I thought was just, I can retire. Like I'm done. I'm so happy.
You've
And
made it.
then,
You've made
yeah,
it.
yeah, I was totally cool. And then someone's like, you need to keep doing those. I was like, really? People want to see that? Like I have things in my head I could teach them and tell them. And then it was how to argue part 4. And that one just took off. It got like, I don't know, 3 million something views. And then overnight I had 100,000 followers. And then now I have 200. And it's just,
It's like
so that's how that came
I
about.
mean, look at you go. I think it's fantastic.
Hey,
I
thanks.
love it.
I appreciate
I
it.
love
Yeah. So, but it's very, I mean, it takes like 2 swipes to see the extent of my content.
it.
That makes sense.
Well, obviously people are resonating with it. I don't think your
Yeah.
audience is just other, weirdo attorneys out out there who are like,
Right.
hey, let's get
Right.
tips. But I think the tips are transferable to even people in business or just
Right.
everyday work. One of them I really like is your teach me to deflect. Like a
Oh,
fire. So
right.
I would love to know, Jefferson, teach me to deflect. How do you
Yeah.
deflect?
So, well, it's not that that is a admirable quality, right? If you get a question,
Isn't it?
you want to answer it directly as you can, but sometimes you get a question that's going to make you uncomfortable, and you want to deflect it.
Right.
And people, there were some that like, I'd get these comments that'd be like, well, that's just like how a politician does. And like, yeah, that's what they do. That's what they're trained to do. Their team says, hey, if you get a question, pivot to X, Y, and Z. And deflecting is really a way of just distraction,
Mhm.
just to distract your audience. And let's say you put in the work setting. I'm trying to think of one right now. So, right, Reggie, let's say, so yeah, I'm interviewing you, all right, and you get a question. You have multiple job offers, and you're trying to interview for my company,
Okay.
and I say something like, are you contemplating any other offers? Do you have another offer on the table right now? Now that might make you feel a little bit like, ooh, I don't want to say anything because it's going to be, is that going to affect how they think of me, or they're going to compete, or say, somebody's interested, I'm going to drop her.
Right.
So, in that way, you can deflect in a positive way by saying something uh, along the lines of using the question. So the question is, do you have any other offers at this time?
Hmm.
So don't worry about an answer. Just
Okay.
worry about that question. And so you think about the question, do I have any other offers? And you think of the key words in that sentence being offers.
Mhm.
And so use that to pivot to another question. And so you could say something like, I am keeping all options open and any offers that I receive. But what I'm here to talk about today is, are you going to be willing to offer me
I
anything?
like that.
And
Yes.
or you say, I'm hoping to look at some more offers, but what's most important to me is why I'm here, and that's to be a part of this team and learn more about this culture here. Can you tell me more about it? And that way, they go, oh, okay, well, and then
Yeah.
off they go. So, but I teach that with my um, clients for deposition and
Right.
trial. That's
Absolutely.
I prepare them. It'll be like a full day of me giving them all these tips and cues so that when they go to trial or deposition, they feel totally comfortable.
Absolutely. And it's really good advice too, because sometimes questions in a deposition or even business questions, they're meant to trap individuals or
Yeah.
put them in a box they maybe don't want to get into. So I think it's such a great idea because then you're listening to the question, but then also responding in a way that makes you seem valuable to, in the hiring sense, but also
Yeah,
able to answer. I like that.
absolutely. And it's one of those things here that I am a personal injury attorney, though for the last 6 years, 7 years, I did the opposite. I did defense. I defended
Oh,
on personal injury cases. And then when I went off on my own, started my own personal injury firm, things, it's just that aspect of change. But what I didn't want to do is be one of those attorneys that's like, you hurt today, call me at 1-800, the sledgehammer.com.
what do you got against Better Call Saul? Saul
Right,
Goodman is their
right.
hero.
I've
No, I'm
never
just-
seen that actually, but I do. People comment that. Yeah, people comment. I don't have any time for TV,
oh my
Reggie.
God.
I really don't.
I'd like to
But
say
the
that.
idea was that I could just like, what value could I give to people
Mhm.
that really has nothing to do with law, but it
Yeah.
relates somewhat to my practice and my wheelhouse, and that is communication, whether
That's
it's persuading, uh, in conflict, anything like that. And it's done well. So I'm definitely exploring all the possibilities with it, but I really just like helping people.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a lot of
And
fun.
and I love that you're offering the advice in a way that, like I said, it can translate into help for not just the litigator or lawyer out there or law student,
Mm,
for everybody. Another
yeah.
one that you have, I think, is very interesting and one that I don't think a lot of people think about is your mirroring. You have a
Oh
mirror
yeah.
video, and I'd love you kind of to explain what mirroring is and how to utilize it.
Mirroring is just like it sounds. It is a way of copying behaviors, whether it's in body language or in using your words to meet that person on their level. So everybody has a certain, in my mind, how I've always seen it is that everybody kind of walks into the room in a certain scale of where they are. It's not good or bad, but there's
Right.
somebody who can be very quiet and timid, and that's how they are. There's
Mhm.
people who are loud and boisterous and want all the attention, and that's how they are.
Mhm.
So you kind of have to meet them where they're at so that they feel comfortable. You can open up more and have a serious conversation. Again, this is for not just like, hey, I want to buy a stick of gum from you. And that's not what I'm talking about. It's like if you want to have a deep conversation with that
Right.
person. And so so let's say like for you, okay, you might be comfortable with somebody who's nodding their head more,
Mhm.
like when they're talking.
Oh my God, I'm doing that. I'm bad. I'm
Right,
like,
right.
yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
did.
And all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, they're learned in the same thing like me.
Mhm.
I'm not saying you have to copy them, as you take a drink, I'm taking a drink.
Right.
Um, but I would say even more so what I tried to talk about in that video, and I plan on doing more of them, is for mirroring in that video, I talked about using their words and then flipping them.
Mhm.
And it makes them feel like, hey, this person's really listening to me. Now you still are.
Right.
You want to show empathy, right? You want to show that you are engaged. And sometimes that's hard to translate if you just say, okay, it's
Right.
they want to show a little bit more than that. And that's totally natural. So
Right.
one way to do that is, let's say somebody comes in, one of your girlfriends comes in and they say, oh my gosh, I had such a terrible day. I cannot stand my boss. Well, then stand and boss, that sticks out in the keywords. And so you flip those. You can say, well, what about your boss that you can't stand?
Right.
Now, did I add anything to the conversation? No.
You
all I
know,
did
yeah,
was
I
just
know.
all I did was just reverse exactly what you said.
Right.
And it's going to make you feel like, oh my, they care about what I'm saying. They're engaged, and kind of meet them on their level. So it's you can just say, well, what is it about blah that makes you blah? It's you just reverse what they say. So that's one episode. One episode. That's one way to mirror. Another way, which I'll talk about probably in another video, is you latch on to like the last three words that somebody said and you repeat those.
Mhm.
So if you were to tell me, I really had a hard day. I think I need a vacation. And if I said, you need a vacation? And you're like, yeah, I need a vacation, and you're gonna go blah, 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 and keep
Right.
going, even though I didn't say anything other than just repeat the last little clip.
Right. And that's a good tip for depositions, especially
Yeah,
if there are other attorneys out there
right.
listening to your witness and what they say, because, and you had a video
Mhm.
on this too, like listen to your witness. They may give you something
That's right.
that might not be in your outline that you need to follow. And so the
Yeah.
follow up of those last three words can open up a huge world for you.
I'm a huge proponent of no outline. So when I go into a deposition, I have 3 bullet points, and it's 3 words. Same thing for a trial and a witness. That way, when I ask, the jury can tell that it's an authentic question. It doesn't sound canned. And then that way you can adapt and react to what the witness is saying in real time. Because
Mhm.
they'll always say things that are like little gems,
Oh, yeah.
especially if you just let them hang for a second. So you don't like fire a rapid question right back at them. I mean, you've seen it. I can't tell you how many, I said bad attorneys, let's say not as experienced attorneys, are looking down at their notes
Mhm.
and going, mm-hmm. And all they're doing is just checking that next question and totally listening to like this huge diamond of a thing
Right.
the witness just told them.
Right, exactly. And I think that is a big tip for new attorneys is shut up.
Yeah, yeah. And to go off script, like it's in a weird way, it's kind of an improv class. Like you just need to be able to riff off of what they're saying, like we talked about with mirroring. So if a witness is saying, it's been really hard on me. Well, how's it been hard on you?
Right.
There they go.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Follow up because
My favorite is when somebody says, I don't remember specifically. And you say, what do you remember generally? Well, yeah. And they
oh,
go on.
I like that. I'm gonna steal that
They,
one.
they, they do that all the time. So, or somebody doesn't remember a date of something. I'll say, well, was it hot or cold outside? I think it was hot. Okay. Well, do you remember, was school out or was school in session? Like you ask all these things and then you'll kind of start to narrow down what it was.
Stealing that one from you, Jefferson.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll
I
take
like
all your
that.
notes later.
I like that. Very cool. Well, I love that, you talk about being able to improv because a lot of litigation, especially, depositions, trial, you have to improv and act on your feet. When did you know that you had a knack for it or a talent for it?
Well, I would say one, I kind of get it through osmosis. I'm like fifth generation of attorneys. My dad's an
Wow.
attorney. My grandfather was a DA. My great grandfather was a federal judge, and his
Wow.
father was an attorney, and his father was like at the time you didn't have to have a law license at all, but
Right.
he practiced law. He was like sheriff slash lawyer. So
Hi,
I
Jen.
grew
So
up,
lawyers. Holy
yeah.
cow.
So I grew up listening to stories every day and hearing about depositions, before I was even 8 years old and finding out what those were. And I sat through a few because, mom was off having to do something and she wasn't able to keep me, and dad had a deposition. So I used to sit in the corner.
I love it.
So
I love
it was that kind of thing. And all of the men in my family, and there's a lot for some reason. There's a lot of guys, and a
it.
lot of them do law. And so the living room turned into a courtroom of just storytelling, where
Oh,
they would tell like their most epic story, and everybody's very dramatic, and it was hilarious. And that's what stuck out in my mind. So I would say one, that of just naturally being a ham, right?
man.
And then I did mock trial in undergrad at University of Texas, and it just came extremely natural, and I loved it. And so I did that, and I did competitions, of course, in mock trial in law school, and here I am.
Very cool. I love it. And okay, I gotta ask, what's a family reunion like with a bunch of lawyers, with all these all
Um,
these lawyers?
well, it it's good. It's all good. I mean, nobody acts any different than you would. It gets to where at some point in the evening, somebody starts telling a story, and then somebody adds in. And so that reminds me of the time that blah, blah, blah. Or they come in and say, one time I had this case at blah, 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 or one time I had a witness say this, and they're all funny stories.
That's awesome.
And so everybody just kind of starts to feed on each other, but it's great. It's great when we all get together.
That is great. And I know that you have kids as well. You share them on your
Yeah.
Insta. So I mean,
Yeah.
what are you, someday if they're like, hey, dad, I want to be a lawyer, what's your
Yeah.
response going to be?
Go for it.
Go
I
for
mean,
it.
I do not know what the practice of law is going to look like by the time that it would be, they're 18. My kids are 4 and 2.
Okay.
So, what's the practice of law going to look like in, 15? I guess for them, you're in law school, what, your mid-20s.
Yeah.
I mean, with smart contracts and everything else has been that I've looked into and what's happening, I'm sure with you being IP, who knows what it's going to be like at all. I just want them to be happy. I
Right.
don't care. Whatever they want to do to be happy, I'll help them every way.
Absolutely. And part of being, I think, happy too is loving what you do, but also having confidence in what you do and passion. One of the videos that I think is great too is you teach people how to have this confidence, or at least appear to have confidence.
Mhm.
And I'd love you to share some of those tips with our viewers so that they can have that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I would say the thing I did in that video, and of course there are people who are like, that's not how, that's what you should. Everybody has a different opinion, which is I kind of like
Yeah.
in a weird way. Um, is if you want to be more confident or come across more confident, just say less. Don't always talk. For me, at least, when I was in a meeting, a board meeting, any type of group setting, and there was that one person who always had to chime in every single time, it was honestly the person whose opinion we wanted the least. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, yes, I got it. Yes, you have an opinion. We understand that. Yeah, no, I hear you.
You're here.
Uh,
We see you. We see you.
yeah, yeah, right. And if you don't want to come across that way,
Shut
just
up.
be selective. That was my point. Be
Right.
selective.
Right.
So instead of wanting to, have a scatter shot every single time there's an issue, just pick your one big issue and then contribute then, because it's kind of like in my view, the boy who cried wolf, right? Like if you always have something to say, eventually people will just slowly start to tune you out. But if you wait and make a serious contribution at that time, you're going to catch people's attention and respect because it's going to be well thought of or well thought out. So that was my thing in that video. Some people were like, well, you need to contribute. Yeah, you definitely need to contribute. I'm not saying say nothing, but it's never going to be hurt you to say less than what you're trying to say. But confidence, I think a lot is your body posture of keeping your shoulders back. And yeah, I catch myself all the time doing that. Yeah. I catch myself all the time, but it's a mindset
Yeah.
for me, of having the confidence that something is going to work out. And that's not for everybody. Some people really have true anxiety about things and worry about certain things that maybe some people don't, and that's okay. But confidence to me, it can be taught. It's more natural. It comes more natural to some people than others, but I think it comes with incremental changes of testing things and putting yourself out there to show that you do have self-value, self-worth, and that turns into self-confidence.
Absolutely. I think also, after an amount of time and after you've done it, old horse, it's like you build that and you build that
Yeah.
confidence in certain topics, areas, and it'll come.
Right.
For new attorneys, I just say, just keep fake it till you make it.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah. Or if you're an attorney, you just act like you know what you're doing.
Right. I mean, just pretend like you know everything, which
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
one does. All right. Another thing, Jefferson, I know that you're a meme lover. I'm a meme lover. Legal
Yes.
memes are kind of like, I think they're a love language really for attorneys, like
Yeah,
that.
well, we can just relate to them that other people can't.
Exactly. And you have picked out some that are really fun that I'd like to go over. So
Yeah, I picked
first,
out a few.
awesome. So first one we're going to go over is this: describe lawyering in 2 words. And then he's
Yeah.
like, emotional damage.
Yeah, that one's my favorite. Just because I can hear it in my head of like the emotional damage that video clip.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, it really is in a lot of ways. It is it's emotional damage. All good if you enjoy what you're doing, but yeah, no matter what, you're gonna be damaged in some way.
I mean, we're all going to have big therapy bills.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, and anybody should be, if you're an attorney, you should be going, if you're a human, you should be going to therapy. Period.
right. And especially if you're an attorney.
Especially if you're an attorney.
All right, next meme: when opposing attorneys meet after the litigation is over, and they're like,
Oh, yeah, they're hugging each other. Yeah, I like that just because it is. I don't want to say it's a show. It's a job. I have to represent one client.
Yeah.
Somebody who's a friend of mine is going to have to represent another client, and we're going to have to battle it out. And we might take shots at each other. It might get a little rough, but at the end of the day, we know that we're friends. I mean, I've driven to a deposition, like a 4-hour deposition with a friend of mine, really good friend of mine, who's an attorney, and we represent different clients. So it was just like we were driving in the car, sharing snacks, and then like had to, put on
How'd you
our.
resist the urge to just like elbow
Yeah.
him? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, sometimes coming out of trials, the attorneys you go up against end up being or end up being some of your close friends, because you go through a very stressful time together.
oh, you absolutely do. Absolutely. And there's a camaraderie of going through like a trial or even, an 8-hour deposition. It's exhausting. And even if they're on the opposing side and you can't stand them, which I've done a few times, you both went through that journey together.
Correct. Yeah. And I mean, you come away with, there will never be that moment in memory again for that particular trial. And so when it's there, it's you'll remember it. You always remember who you were against and how they treated you in that moment.
Absolutely. And the law community, here's a tip from me. Sorry, I know it's your interview, but the law community is small. Even though there are a lot of lawyers, the community is small. Yeah. And your reputation will get around if you're hard.
Absolutely. And I'd even say how you treat people in law school is like, this is not like anybody forgets. It's all right there.
Absolutely. Okay. This next meme that you chose, might be my favorite. And
Yeah.
it's the Jason
Oh yeah.
Jason Momoa, Ted Cruz.
And
Ted
Ted Cruz.
Cruz for my Zoom from 2019 versus
Yeah, Ted Cruz has been edited, obviously, but I just find it hilarious because everybody knows you have on Zoom, there'll be, somebody's picture that pops up, and it's a picture that's like their glamour shot. It might
right.
be 5 years ago, and especially when we were all working from home, and then you click onto your screen, and it was like just you've been surfing on your couch, and you just got done eating 3 strips of bacon, and you're just like out of it. So
Like, are we catfishing the court? Is that what we're
yeah,
doing?
I think that's exactly what we're doing. And in fact, I even had some courts. I had one that was in the middle of COVID, but somebody just had their picture up and their suit and everything. The judge was like, I like your live camera. And he was like, oh, okay, judge, just a minute.
Oh
And
no.
like you could tell he was just like hustling, and dude didn't even have time to comb his hair. It was rough. So anyway,
Oh.
that was one of the reasons why I chose this. It's very relatable, especially during COVID time.
All right. Next meme is every adult needs 3 friends, a doctor, a lawyer, and one who owns a pool.
Yeah, that one wasn't so much the humor as it was like, yep, yeah, even me, like I definitely have like 4 doctor friends on call at any time I have any issues. Attorneys, those are nice to call up. And then you definitely need somebody with a pool or a
Always.
truck. You need somebody with a truck. I have a truck, but if I was just, you need somebody with a truck, a pool, an attorney, and a doctor, and you're pretty much covered.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, actually, yeah, yeah, sometimes you got to move shit and
Yeah.
you need the truck. You need the friend with the truck, but you don't need
Yeah, or be a friend with well, I'll say also the sheriff, if you can be friends with the sheriff or police officer or
the,
municipal court judge. That also is helpful.
or related to them. I mean,
Yeah, that's even
I'm
better.
from a 5-generation family of lawyers.
Yeah, that also helps.
Very cool. Well, Jefferson, it's so good talking to you. And before we leave everyone, I'd like one final thought. If you were not practicing law, what would you be doing right now?
I would probably be doing something with brand management and consulting. Like I love marketing. I love helping businesses develop brands. I did it before law school. I did it. I've always enjoyed doing it, and now I get to kind of create my own, which is a lot of fun. But that's what I'd be doing. I'd be
Well, you're good at
still
it.
kind of create.
From
Thank you.
January to now, you went 270,000 followers on TikTok. So
Yeah,
you know
that's
what you're doing.
TikTok. That's TikTok. Yeah, but I mean, my
Yeah,
website I made, my logo I made, all of my stuff. I really enjoy doing that. So I'd probably be working for some digital creative agency.
very
So
cool. Very cool. Well, thank you, Jefferson, for joining us today.
yeah, of
And
course.
very last thing, throw up your social media handles so people know where to follow you and we will put them up.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's just Ask Jefferson. That's my handle. I think my Instagram is just Jefferson Fisher, and then that was taken for TikTok. Somehow. I don't know how to get it. And then just Ask Jefferson is my TikTok.
Very cool. Well, thank you, Jefferson. Have a great
Yeah.
day. Thank you for joining us. And thank you, everyone who is tuned in today for watching Lawyer Interviews. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me.